25-year Superior Court judge, Libertarian for Vice President, Judge Jim Gray.
Thank you, Carla. You know, we are now bringing slowly to a close 2 truly happy, memorable, gratifying days of celebrating Dr. Ron Paul. What a fellow. What a man. What accomplishments, what success. He has actually won this election already in so many ways, because he has mainstreamed this whole philosophy, approach of liberty and personal responsibility. That's this man. But let me also say, so have you. So have you, his followers, his delegates. Thanks to the Ron Paul family, thank you for what you have done. But what now? There are some who believe that the Republican Party can be reformed from within. Well, let me ask you a few questions. How many of you, as Ron Paul supporters, delegates, have faith and feel welcome in the Republican club? How many of you feel like the rules over the past months in these elections have been fair and equitable to Ron Paul? How many of you feel that, in fact, the Republican Party has sent representatives to this weekend to celebrate Ron Paul? I haven't seen any. Have you? How do you feel when Ron Paul was not invited to speak at the convention of the Republicans? How do you feel about that after all has happened, after all of the success, after all of the efforts, and after all of the votes, that he is not even invited to participate and speak in the convention? On the other hand, we libertarians celebrate Ron Paul. We are the same family. How many libertarians have been here to celebrate Ron Paul? Carla Howell is our executive director of the Libertarian Party. Yesterday, the elected head of the Libertarian Party, Jeff Neal, and his wife, Nancy Neal, were here to celebrate. Yesterday, one of my true heroes, Governor Gary Johnson, the Libertarian presidential nominee, was here to celebrate Ron Paul. And so am I. You know, the governor and I will have seen each other about 3 times throughout this election campaign. Number 1 was at the Libertarian Convention when we were both nominated. Number 2 was at Freedom Fest. And number 3 is at this Ron Paul Fest. We deem it to be that important to celebrate you and this leader. Ron Paul will throughout history, I believe, be known as that beacon of liberty. But after the end of this week in the Republican convention, I believe that the torch of liberty will be passed to Governor Gary Johnson. And I am proud to carry that torch with him for a very long time. But we need your help. We need your energy. We need your influence. Get us in the debates. Get us in the debates. Your votes are your own. We will merit your vote once we are in the debates, but I assure you that this is something that the Republicans and Democrats and their nominees, Barack Obama and Mitt Romney, do not want to have happen, and for good reason. They will force, with Governor Gary Johnson in the debates, to speak about issues they do not want to address. What are those? They're the same. Romney and Obama are on one side. Governor Gary Johnson and Judge Jim Gray and Ron Paul are on the other. In fact, they are so together, we call them Romney. Republicans and Democrats haven't even given us a budget in the last 3 years. Not even a budget. And are you aware? I'm sure you are. For every dollar today that the federal government spends, we are borrowing 43 cents. No household can do that. No company can do that. And let me tell you a secret. No country can either. The biggest security threat to the United States of America is a weak economy, and we're getting weaker. These are things that we need to discuss. With the military, the Republicans and Democrats for the past decades have been keeping us in fear, keeping our military in conflicts all around the world. And we say, no, no longer. We'll bring our troops home from Somalia. We'll bring our troops home from the Sudan and Yemen. You heard Governor Johnson yesterday. We will bring our troops home from Afghanistan now. $900 to 1,000 foreign military bases that the United States of America now has in foreign countries. If they're necessary for our defense, fine, keep them, reinforce them, but they're not. Let's close those bases and bring those troops home. I read an article not long ago from a woman who actually lives in a small town in Germany, and she was saying with aghast, my goodness, if you were to close this military army base in our small town, you would take away 92% of our revenue. And I say, good, let's bring those people home and spend the money in Florida, spend the money in California, Illinois, let's spend the money in our country. Another issue they do not want to discuss, health care. They're the same. Come on, folks. Romney is the architect of Obamacare. Do you think he wants to orphan his child? Don't believe him. They're the same. Let's change that. We will. They will not. We will. We will repeal the Patriot Act, this direct frontal assault on our civil liberties. It must be repealed. The National Defense Authorization Act, passed by Democrats, passed by Republicans, signed by Obama, and repealed by Governor Gary Johnson as president. Did you see the paper yesterday? The paper yesterday said, oh, no, we're not going to have any drones flying over Tampa, as if that's news. We're not going to have any drones flying over the United States of America, period, unless there's a judicial warrant. No, that's not what we stand for. The war on drugs, the biggest failed policy in the history of our country, will be repealed by Governor Johnson as president. Obama and Romney on one side, Johnson, Gray, Paul on the other. The choices are huge. Get us in the debates. We're not only going to audit the Fed, thanks to Ron Paul, we have seen. Are you aware we have spent trillions of our dollars, huge amounts of our dollars, bailing out foreign banks, for heaven's sake. Let's not only audit the Fed, let's end the Fed. You give us that legislation, Governor Johnson as president will sign it. But in the meantime, no, wait a minute. Let's not just audit the Fed. Let's audit the Pentagon. Let's audit the federal government. But using generally accepted accounting principles. We require our companies to do this. Why not require the federal government to do this as well? Let's see what's happening. Let's address it. Let's be honest with our people. And then, when we talk about reducing spending, let's not play this smoke and mirrors stuff. Let's what I call use the Weight Watchers approach. What that means is get on the scale. Let's see how much we weigh, and then instead of saying, well, they weigh 300 pounds now, They gained 300 up to 320. We only gained 310, so we cut the budget of 10 pounds. The answer is no. Let's address issues, accountings like they are, and tell the truth to the American people. I promise you that if American people understand there's a problem, and they're beginning to really see that, and then the problem is explained to them, they're willing to share the pain. This is a time that we need to cut back. We will reduce the federal budget by 43%. Paul Ryan, Congressman Paul Ryan, this radical budget, are you kidding me? You know how long it takes him with that budget to balance the federal budget? Decades, 27 years, and that's assuming growth that may not be there. We will submit a balanced budget to Congress in 2013. We will do that. Jobs on everyone's mind, as they should be. How do we bring back jobs? Romney, each one of them kind of nibble at the edges. Oh, I'll give a tax break here, I'll take a tax break there. We say no. The way to bring back jobs to the United States of America is to abolish the IRS, abolish the income tax, repeal the 16th Amendment. It will do it. It's exciting. Spread the word. This is not radical. This is not radical. We're going back to our roots. Before the 16th Amendment, 1913, we had no income tax. Thomas Jefferson, James Madison would be pleased. You know, today, if you look at it, not only do we spend exorbitant funds to prepare, keep records for taxes, but our products, before they are exported, have an unfair disadvantage against products around the world because they paid taxes on them before they leave our shores, competing with goods around the world that have not. Let's level the playing field. Same thing in reverse. The imports we bring into our country, most have not paid taxes on them before they come into here, and then they're competing with our goods that have. Our domestic goods have paid taxes on them, unfair disadvantage. I was in an airplane recently. Actually, I fly so much now I don't remember where, but I was sitting next to an executive from Nike, you know, the shoe manufacturing company. We were explaining this, and he said, Judge Gray, this is sensational. Do you know what would happen if we were to repeal the income tax? Most companies would bring their manufacturing back to the United States of America. Imagine the jobs. A reverse outsourcing. We can do this. So, we see the Republicans and Democrats now spending hundreds of billions of dollars on ads, television, in the mail. And what do? Do they talk about their ideas? No, they don't have any. Do they talk about their record? They can't possibly do that. So what do they spend their money on? They show how incompetent the other one is. And you know something? We agree with both of them. Get us in the debates. I end by quoting this fellow by the name of Thomas Jefferson. Maybe you've heard of him. Wrote the Declaration of Independence, my goodness. And he said, so long ago, you know something? In our fragile republic, we must have a revolution every generation. Why? To keep those special interests from invigilating their way into power, sapping our energy and sapping our strength. My good friends, Ron Paul nation, Libertarian nation, we're not welcoming you into our family. You're a part of our family. Ron Paul is one that created our family in so many ways. I am here deeply proud to tell you that the revolution, it's been so long, it's been so many generations in coming, the revolution is now here, and it takes the form of Governor Gary Johnson, Ron Paul, and Judge Jim Gray. Thank you. Let's get it done. Thanks so much.